Welcome to the Unconsumed podcast. I'm Lee Corning. I'm here with my good friends, Greg Hampton, co-founder of Cornerstone Site Services. They have hats. I have them too, in varying styles. You can get them both. And Matt Marshall, Director of Real Estate Development for Texera.
Correct.
Here in Texas. And you guys have a lot of experience in the real estate development and construction world. How much between the both of you? Just
let's call it
50 years.
50 years.
Does that make us sound old?
25 for me.
That's been a long career.
Half a century.
Let's call it 50 years combined. Yeah.
So how's it been being in this market that is so publicly blown up over the past probably 20 years? Because you guys have been in Austin for quite a while. You've been in Fort Worth for some, but
I moved here in 2000, and that was a boom year for Austin, San Antonio market. Worked for a contractor that was out of the Dallas-Fort Worth market, and this space was crazy, and it was going. That was back .comers and all that was going on, so it was a little different dynamic.
Yeah.
It's very similar, though, right now in the market. But since 2000, I've been here for 18 years in Austin, and it's been a great market for us. Yeah.
So, naturally, I come from the trading world, and I was trading bonds in 08. Specifically, I was on the pit the night that Bear Stearns got bought for $2 from by Bank of America. You remember this?
Yep.
I was standing there watching, just the walls coming down.
They hit the fan.
It was pretty wild, I'll tell you that. And what ended up happening out of all this is obviously rates go to zero. You've got houses worth much less.
Sure.
How did that transpire in the development world and in the commercial construction world?
So I've been here since '82.
Okay.
Got out of school in '83. Got in the real estate business. So I've seen the crash in 86, 87 after they modified the tax laws.
Ah, okay.
Okay, and then it made its comeback in late 90, call it 6, 7, 8, and that's when I was brought up to Georgetown to run development and real estate for Berry Creek, and it was coming out of the chute, and we saw it really grow. And in 07, and we saw it crash again, what they call a .com demise.
Well, that would have been 90s, but then subprime would have been 07.
Right, and so fast forward, so we've kind of been on this track for a really good run since really
We're in a bubble.
2009, 2010 when it really made its comeback.
So that's interesting. You mentioned the 87 crisis because I was born in 85, and it's like you have a very short financial history. They say it lasts about 20 years is what the average person remembers from the financial world. And so I hadn't really had a conversation in a while with someone that's actually weathered the 87 stuff too. So do you fear these bubbles and drops and anything, or is it just business as usual?
It's interesting. There's got to be another one coming, but I think Texas and the leadership of this state have done a really good job insulating the economic drivers. All right, it was so bad in 86, 87. My wife and I were buying dog food on my Gulf credit card. And for all you young guys, Gulf is now Chevron.
Okay.
That's how bad it was. And we were managing a duplex in South Austin. The rent was $440 a month, and our compensation for management was half rent, so we paid $220. We had to have a roommate. That's how. So it was like You, Me, and Dupree Part 1.
That's. I got out of college in 87 and had been promised in 85, 86 I worked for Coca-Cola. Marketing position in Denver, Colorado, which is what I was going to school for and everything. Graduated, they said we just laid off 17 of the 19 employees and we're done. So it was scrambled.
This is Coca-Cola bottling?
Coca-Cola bottling was in such dire straits. That's when they were having the Pepsi wars and all that. And they were laying people off like crazy. So I panicked. I was like, I've got to find a job. So I got a job in Dallas selling construction equipment because that was my background. And I grew up running equipment and all that and had a, degree in business and got a job there for the next 3 years. Sold bulldozers and track hoes.
Hang on one second.
Right.
So weren't you the Dr. Pepper man at one
I worked
time?
for Dr. Pepper too. So
I want to make sure we're clear on
I
that.
love soft drinks.
Can we tell that story?
Everybody but Pepsi.
Dr. Pepper man?
I could do it.
Okay.
I don't know. But anyway, it was when you're graduating college and the market is so bad that you have literally you just feel trapped and there's no opportunity. You just kind of do what you got to do to get started and get in a market somewhere. I was just like, man, just give me a job. I was driving a truck, delivering bulldozers for my dad, working for him for a construction company. When a guy jumped on the trailer and offered me a job, I was like, I'll take whatever you got. I'm ready to do something that I can put my degree and maybe scratch out some type of career. So that's how bad it was.
That's wild because I used to get a call, multiple calls a day from kids that were graduating college in 07, 08. And these have been buddies of mine that I grew up with or had been around or they were a couple years back.
Which was tough right there.
And they're like, what do I do? And I'm like, I don't know. Like, I don't know if I'm safe for the next 20 minutes.
Hold your breath.
And there were a lot of times where I wasn't safe. Like, you're no one until you've been fired at least once, is what I've been told.
Sure.
But so you mentioned that you had developed Berry Creek in this neighborhood I'm in right now.
You probably sold this house.
Did you build this house?
I didn't build it, so I was on the development marketing and the brokerage side.
Okay.
And this was really they could write a book on this project. It was developed by Bobby Stanton and some partners. And
so who's that? Is that a?
He's been in Georgetown his entire career. He was a developer. Developed all of Serenata. So if you can imagine.
Okay, for people that aren't familiar with the area, is this just like a large,
just east of here? Huge development.
Huge. It goes all the way from here to Williams Drive, which has got to be 3 miles.
Okay,
and so the Shell family owned this old ranch. Berry Creek ran through it. I don't know if you know the story of the name Berry Creek. It was named after John Berry, who was a famous gunsmith that settled in these parts and was sought out by Davy Crockett to work on his flintlock, Old Betsy, on his way to the Alamo. True story.
Really?
Yeah, and that's where John Berry in Berry Creek was named after his family. And
he's not just eye candy, by the way. I told you, bro.
So Davy Crockett used to hang out around.
He didn't spend here long because he had a mission. He's going down to San Antonio.
He's got a plan.
And he's fighting for the Texas independence. But anyway, so that's a true story. So Bobby Stanton and his group bought this old ranch, and they had a vision. Worked with First Texas Bank, and they Carl Daring designed the golf course. They built this 12,000 foot clubhouse, and they built the front nine as you know it today that wraps around Berry Creek Drive.
I don't golf, but I like that someone's mowing the yard out there.
And then they built the back nine, which is kind of over here where we are, and it's an island of really about 100 home sites surrounded by 4 fairways of golf, and you're sitting on the converts of number 12 green and number 18 tee boxes. This is one of the best sites on the entire golf course.
Well,
just so you
all
know.
Realtors remember that when I go to sell this place.
So Bob Brent, he's still a dear friend and a mentor. When the crash hit in I'm gonna date it. In '87, I got in the insurance business, finding something to do.
So you had left construction.
I left the construction and brokerage, the real estate business. And in 1990-91, Bob Brent calls me and says, "Hey, my partner's leaving. I need to bring you up here to help me run Berry Creek." And I'm like, "I'm your guy."
Yeah.
And so at that time, it's coming out of the doldrums. All right. And 91, 92, the project was bought by Berry Creek Partners, headed up by Gary Nealon and Bob Wunsch, and they really did what they did and put it on the map.
Great.
And I think the very first year in 92, we just got after it. I think we sold 139 lots and I'm not talking to about a bunch of builders. I'm talking about 1-to-1.
One at a time.
Mono. and so we've seen this thing grow from when I got here, there's 52 homes to now over 1,000 homes.
Wow.
And it's been obviously near and dear to my heart, and our family raised 2 girls here, and we live down the street on Oak Tree. So
you
we're
do
neighbors.
Yeah. We're on Oakmont.
Well,
so we're here.
I figured we were dragging you up from the other side of
town.
town.
Negatory. No.
He was working in Austin.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay.
I came all the way from
he had to get home.
Southwest of Oak Hill to get here.
Yeah.
That was my last meeting of the day.
So one of the things we love to do on this podcast is kind of like give at this time it's probably 2 generations back of like how someone could get into what you guys are doing now. So real quick, Greg, you're working. You were in Cornerstone Site Services,
right,
which is the preparation for these different neighborhood developments.
Absolutely.
And you guys do a lot of commercial too, right?
Sure. Yeah, we do schools, we do churches, we do strip centers, we do road projects, and then also we do subdivision projects.
Okay,
primarily.
So the way it sounds to me, and I don't know your guys' business in and out, is that you, let's see how this, in my estimation, you correct me when I'm wrong, is you would find the land and then divide it up, and then you would call in a Greg who would put down the roads and the gutters and everything, and then who would call the home builder to put the homes on?
Typically the developer that is responsible for the project as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to outsource great teams like what Greg and Mike Cheney have, and they build the infrastructure,
right,
and develop and build to get the lots prepared with all the utilities, roads, and all that.
Right.
And then the developer himself goes out and solicits to the home builders to come in and acquire the lots from the developer and build their product.
Okay.
It's a typical cycle.
Okay, so for guys that are following this mathematically, it goes raw land to improved land. And what are the multiples on average raw land to improved land, which is having the utilities and the roads and things in?
Well, what you're going to find is you're going to find a development team that sees a tract of land.
Right.
And typically they're already, like if it's going to be a residential play, they're already talking to the cities, they're talking to the counties, they're already getting it teed up, what we call it, so they got paper lots and they can get permitted for that type of...
What's paper lot mean?
Paper lot would be where you would go in, paper lot, depending on who you talk to, it's got a little different description. But for the most part, that means that it's already been ran through the county and the city, and they've approved it for a residential neighborhood. And they've improved it on a size lot. So if it's a 45-foot lot up to a 70-foot lot, the city's already said, we're going to permit, we're going to plat that, and agree to approve that for you guys to construct whatever type project that is. So if it's this neighborhood, they're going to go in and say, okay, you're going to develop raw land, you're going to put in 100 lots, they're going to be 60 foot wide, we're going to bring the city sewer, and we're gonna go ahead and approve all this. Well, then the developer will say, okay, then I'm going to buy that property. They'll tie that property up. They'll go through feasibility studies with the civil engineer. They'll see if there's detention pond issues, things like that.
Yeah.
And they'll go ahead and get approvals to do that. And then they'll go out and they'll get solicitation of bids. Well, then they get bids from guys like us, and we all bid it, and then they select a contractor. We would come, if we were selected, we would come in and do the development. But the developer typically, depends how risk averse he is, but typically he's already got his builders lined up.
Right.
Okay.
Hopefully he does. So if he's going to, a big developer, he would go to D.R. Horton, he would go to Paysetter Homes, he would go to,
whoever's making houses,
Ashton Woods, and he would say, okay, I have 100 lot subdivision, do you want to buy it?
Right.
And then they would come in and say, well, I might buy half of it or I'll buy all of it, depending on what it is. And then we would come in with the developer, we would do the construction, we get paid, we're gone. Then he sells that to the home builder. The home builder comes in and starts putting in model homes, and he starts selling, and that's where he starts generating his income.
Okay.
So that's kind of where we're at in the play there.
So your Texera would essentially bookend Greg's process.
So Our platform is a little different.
Okay.
So Texera.
You're completely commercial.
Completely commercial. And, and here's our elevator.
We do both, so we deal with these guys too.
So our elevator speech, Lee, is we're the tenant improvement contractor under $1 million.
Okay.
And then we do ground up construction under about $5 million.
Tenant improvement meaning existing structure.
So let's say you want to open up a Mama Foo's Asian house as a franchisee, just for giggles. All right. And we've built 7 of them.
Okay.
All right.
So I want to work with you.
So Mama Foo's comes to us and say, hey, we got a new group. We're looking at a space in Austin, and they provide us with a set of interior design and architectural plans, and then we'll build out the interior space within a shopping center.
Okay.
So you'd also build the structure.
We do. So we call it kind of
turnkey.
The ground up. We'll build the retail shell building of whether it be 5 to 50,000 feet. And then as the developer, they would come in and place, and lease those spaces to various retail, restaurant, service-related type tenants.
Gotcha. So, this is a personal question. Can you build me a warehouse?
Sure.
Matter of fact, that's interesting you asked. Is your phone ringing?
Yes, my watch is. Because I got a fancy Apple
It's like
watch.
Dick Tracy.
I got it.
I'll tell you, joking. All mine says is 740.
I blame Corey Browning for this because he ordered it for me. And I'm loving it. I'm going to turn it off, but I love it.
We digress.
Of course.
What was the question? Oh, industrial. All right. So great segue. Our Texera actually does quite a bit of industrial construction and development. We built a 27,000 foot industrial project out in Manor. That's currently developing.
Very big, right? Yeah.
We're currently developing a 40,000 foot manufacturing facility for the JRS company out of Covina, California.
Which is what, JRS?
They manufacture little nameplates.
Oh, really?
Placards. You see all the exit signs in any public building?
That's them.
That's them.
Interesting. Right. How do you get the license to be the guy that makes the exit sign?
By the billions. They do. Brad Jakes has become a very dear friend of mine. They're moving their entire family. His daughter and new son-in-law are already here, and 27 families from Covina, California, just east of LA.
Really?
And so that's been, we're actually going, what we call in our world, going vertical. We're tying steel and starting to build the shell of an light industrial building. Huh. So we do a lot of that. So Lee, offline, we can certainly talk about your needs.
That's what I'm talking about. I bought the elevator pitch.
Right?
So yeah, this kind of transitions into something I think is pretty cool. So after you've spent 50 years combined, like working the traps.
That's a long time.
I'm sorry to say it out loud sometimes. After you're done working the traps for all these years, like you kind of get to a spot where you can branch out into some other things that are of more interest to you. And one of them is this Smoke Shoot. It's essentially an outdoorsman kind of play on giving back to young families and young men in particular. Can you describe what this is? And
go ahead.
Okay, so this is
tell a story.
And I'll give you a little background.
Yeah.
Greg and I founded Legacy Outdoorsman Outfitters, and Legacy is a nonprofit formed solely to raise awareness and financial support for our charity partners.
Okay.
And we do that by community events like the Smoking Shoot, guided duck hunts and other hunting expeditions.
Okay.
Fishing trips.
Yeah, I've seen the fishing pictures.
Yeah, which Greg has been on multiple times.
Yep.
And so we offer these guided hunts and events to patrons that participate, and all the proceeds that we raise, we turn around and write a check to our charity partner.
Gotcha.
All right. And our primary charity partner is Young Life and Young Lives.
Okay.
So Young Life, if I were to describe it best, is just a beautiful community that's made up of mostly college-age kids and young adults that are equipped and prepared to dive headstrong into the high schools all over the world,
right,
to develop relationships with these high school kids and just love on them and have life-on-life mentorship,
right,
in a way of sharing the love of Jesus Christ and introduce them to the creator of the universe.
Mm-hmm.
Young Lives, in the same vein, is the teen mom ministry.
Okay, yeah, I forget.
Yeah, it's a little
okay, so it's a little different, but the teen mom ministry, Lee, it is connected, and you find young women and young adult women that spend countless hours mentoring these kids that are having kids,
right,
and provide them support and shelter and clothing and community, and so.
Very cool. How long have you been doing this?
We kicked off
4 years ago.
It's been about 5, 6 years.
5, 6 years.
And so Legacy has been around for about four years.
Tell them the Legacy story.
Okay, so
this is
get
a little more lighthearted.
Okay, all right. So Legacy,
because
you gonna let me tell this?
I will. But Young Life started in 1941.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
So this has been a group that started in Gatesville, Texas, where basically a young intern or future pastor came alongside a preacher in Gatesville, which is north of Denton, and he said, "What do you want me to do?" And the preacher said, "You know what? I don't really need any help, but if you'll go over to the area high school and just hang out with those kids, and maybe you'll impact somebody."
Mm-hmm.
That's the kids we want, the high school kids, young kids, because our church isn't getting
non-churched.
And so with no agenda, the kid just started going over there and hanging out at Gatesville High School.
Right.
He'd go to basketball games, football games, whatever. So he started doing a Monday night meeting where he would invite everybody in high school to come in. Well, there was a cheerleader that came in. There was a couple of kids came in that had 6, 8 kids sitting in a room, and he challenged them. He said, "Who can you invite to come into this meeting?" Well, one of the cheerleaders was in there, and she said, "Well, my boyfriend's a quarterback of the football team." And so she invited her boyfriend. He shows up. He walks into his first meeting for about 10 minutes, and he says, "I'll be right back." Well, he leaves and goes, gets the entire football team, brings them in.
Right.
And they all sit there. And they start coming. And they start coming, and more people start coming, because at that point, the athletes were the kids that were bringing the other kids in, because they wanted to be where they were at. And so, long story short, that quarterback ended up dedicating his life to Christ. And about 3 weeks later, he was killed in a head-on car wreck.
Oh, wow.
So when you think about big picture and kind of how this thing got formed, you start saying you never know how much time you have, and you need to. Every life matters.
Yeah.
And when you and we have kids that are, I have still high school kids. I have college age kids that's graduating. I have young married kids. But when you start looking at the youth and you start looking at the dynamic that's going through right now with the shootings and the drama that's going on, and you see the outskirt kids that are the ones that are causing this damage, you start saying, why aren't we investing in something that brings those kids in to some kind of fellowship, to love on them, and to give them an avenue to have friendships that are not who you are, but that you're a person. And so that's the whole thing that kind of drives.
You said we were going to make this go lighthearted.
I'm sorry.
Golly.
You know, we're passionate about it, but that's Young Life.
That's
and that's why we've been involved in Young Life. And Matt came in with a little different angle with the Outdoorsman, the guys, the outfitters, the type thing. And I'll let you tell the story
What's
about
the definition
how we
of an outfitter?
start. I'll let you tell that story. Tell the story about
that's the guys that make clothes, right?
Well, an outfitter. A true definition of an outfitter is okay. So
tell them how we got started.
Right.
So because we think it's funny, all these TV shows and cable stations, everything.
Okay, we're in the deer blind, and there's an 18-point blind, and I'm fixing to blow his brains out.
Hey, watch this.
Yeah. So we were making fun of him.
So we're sitting in the duck blind. We love to duck hunt. Love to hunt. All the above, but we do love duck hunt. We got thanks to Steve Daring and Roe Valley Farms. They let us hunt on their property out east of Georgetown, 30 minutes away, and we see a lot of
ducks,
gadwall and widgeon and wood ducks, and it's just it's a lot of fun. So I got Greg hooked on it, and we're sitting in the duck blind, and we start making fun of amateur hunting videos.
And we're videoing it.
And so we're videoing
making our own video of this duck hunting shows.
Yeah. And anyway, long story short, we've been doing this, and I was like, we ought to start this, So I came up with a name thanks to Doug Rowe, one of my dear friends out here. He actually had the idea of Legacy, so we kind of looked at Legacy Outdoors, and that was already taken. Legacy Outfitters was already taken, so we combined Legacy Outdoorsman Outfitters.
That's first big URL. Right?
All right, so one of the very first skeet shoot fundraisers that we put on for Young Life. Greg goes, "Hey man, why don't we put a duck hunt on?" Is that your watch going off? Is that Mickey?
That's Mickey Mouse.
Yeah, what time is it? 7:51. Thank you, Mickey.
Great TV guy.
Okay. So Greg goes, let's put a duck hunt on the live auction.
Yeah.
And we didn't know what we were doing. It's like, sure.
Why not?
How much would we charge? He's, I don't know, $100. So we go, $100, great. So we kind of had it on the deal, and before I got to the microphone, it was at $500, went to $600, $700, sold at $800. We sold two of them at $850.
Yeah. Wow. $1,700 to Young Life.
So Greg goes, God's got a better plan for Legacy.
Yeah.
We should do this all the time.
So
why not? It's fun.
So,
we get paid to go hunting.
So we have
no brainer.
That's the founding of Legacy, and we've done it ever since, and we've put on multiple hunts. The fall event is one of the biggest events that we do, the Smoke and Shoot.
Right.
And I don't want to drop our cameraman, Adam Ply, in the grease. Adam is one of Legacy's finest duck hunting guides that I can call on anytime. So thanks to Adam for partnering with Legacy.
He's the man at so many things.
Right? I was so excited.
Did you assume that he would know how to work all these contractions?
No, had no idea.
Absolutely not. How in the heck did you figure that out?
So fast forward, Lee, and don't mean to be the voice of the show
you're
here.
The man.
Do whatever you like.
So the Smoke and Shoot came about a couple of years ago. We did a wild game dinner benefiting Young Lives, and we cooked up like 27 different dishes of wild game. From what'd you make? That chicken fried Axis. Elk and Axis.
What's Axis?
It's
a deer. It's an exotic deer.
We had chicken fried quail. We had smoked duck. We had moose meat. We had all that. Anyway, and it was a big hit when we partnered with Whitestone Brewery in Cedar Park. Their new craft brewery that Ryan Anglin founded, and was fantastic. And so we've become good friends. Our firm actually built out their brewery and got them in business. So
he bought the elevator pitch too.
So yeah, he bought it. So Ryan says, "Man, I got a great idea." Because he'd come to a couple of our skeet shoots. He goes, "Man, let's do a barbecue cook-off competition and a skeet shoot." I'm like,
"Why not?
I'm in." And he goes, "Let's just call it Smoke and Shoot." So here we go.
Well, it's better than the URL's better than the last.
Right. All right. It's a little easier. Yeah. So the Smoking Shoot was founded 6 months ago. Been working on this. And our event is August 3rd at Capital City Clays on Lindell Lane,
Austin, Texas.
And it is literally a barbecue cook-off competition and a sporting clay tournament. We got 100 shooter field for the sporting clay tournament.
Wow.
And we're looking at 10 pit masters competing for best in ribs and best in brisket.
Okay.
And we're expecting about 150, and all the proceeds will benefit Young Life and Young Lives.
Now, are these all local smokers, or do people come out
from around the state?
Yeah. Mostly judges. Talk to them about the celebrity judges.
So the celebrity judges.
We got celebrity judges.
We got good celebrity judges, and you need to be one.
Yes. Matter of fact,
we're going to pull Lee into this.
I'm still chasing 2 celebrity judges.
He's our 9th.
I just need 7. I got 5. He's our 6.
He's our 6.
All right,
so our celebrity judges are Todd Jeffries and Don Pryor from the Todd and Don Show, KLBJ-AM Drive Time.
Big time.
Don Pryor, son of Cactus Pryor, cultural icon.
Older and dirty.
If you don't know Cactus Pryor, you better look him up.
I thought you were
Cactus
talking
Pryor
about
from Austin, Texas.
He did his radio broadcast from his living room, and so Don Pryor literally was born with a mic in his
baby bed.
Yeah,
I love it.
All right.
I was thinking Richard Pryor first.
Chet Garner,
a little different.
Chet Garner.
I'm with you.
I know Chet.
The Day Tripper. All right,
Chet's
he is
there.
on board. Is going to be one of our celebrity judges.
Very cool.
Casey Studdard, University of Texas football national champion.
What year?
He was there with Vince Young when they won the national championship
2005,
2005,
That name
2006.
sounds real familiar.
Got drafted in 2007. He's a former Houston Texan and Tennessee Titan.
Oh, really?
And is founder of Whitfield's Barbecue that's down at Brody and Davis. I went down there for lunch last week. It was fantastic. And he is a co-host with his center that was on that same national championship team, Lyle Sinline. And they have a show called Big Ugly Outdoors.
So he knows Vince Young very well if he was the center.
Oh, very well. You know,
too well.
It's one of those.
Biblical. Sorry.
Yeah. And so those, and we're chasing 2 more.
Dude, I'll put in a bid.
Boom.
Lee,
You're hired.
I think we'd love to have you.
Yes, sir. Come on.
Yeah.
Is this contingent if I buy a warehouse from you?
No.
Okay.
No.
You're in.
No, you're in. You'll get a nice fresh apron with your name on it. And
you get to eat
Smokey
barbecue
Shoot.
from these greatest barbecue guys in Austin, Texas.
So does this barbecue involve any sauce of any kind?
I'm sure.
It's up to the pit
Depends
master.
the pit master.
Pit master could go dry rub like Memphis style.
Right, I'm into that.
They
could go Texas
I
style.
don't think they'll go sausage.
I got my money on Richard Etheridge.
Okay.
He's pretty darn good. The rib.
Don't influence the judge here.
They won't know where it's coming from.
You know what's really funny is this will not be the first time I've been in the judge of a rib contest.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
So I might be a veteran.
Fantastic. So it's best in brisket.
Okay.
And
Best in ribs.
And best in ribs. We're doing all baby back ribs.
Mm-hmm.
And the charge to the pit masters, they got to cook enough to feed 150. Not just the 7 judges.
Boom.
Yeah.
Right. So that guy shows up and he's got to have 150 sample sizes.
You got 10 pit masters. Everybody cooks 12-pound brisket.
Okay. So in my mind, I'm like, this guy's coming out of pocket for like $1.5 grand.
Buy a 12-pound brisket, 2-3 racks of ribs, and you're golden.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Very cool. So to back into one thing I thought was really interesting that you guys were talking about is the young life and having mentorship and community for kids that feel a little bit dispossessed or like pushed to the fringes,
unchurched.
And I think it's so important because if you look at common strands in all of the to get call it what it is,
exactly where you're going.
The school shootings and things is that these people have no positive role models in their lives, and no one is willing to follow them into their little depression and bring them back out.
Right.
And so. and when I say little depression, I don't mean it to be like condescending or anything. So it's a real issue, and I think the world should be doing whatever it can in whatever capacity it can to like make sure that those people aren't going off on their own for too long, because you start to see what people are capable of.
Well, that's what the devil does. It pulls them away to get them by themselves, and whispers in their ear. And
the depths of the depravity that can come out of that show up on the news occasionally, and it's majorly heartbreaking. So kudos to both of you guys for selling the duck hunts and doing things that are fun in order to get these guys, someone to say, hey, I care a little bit.
Well, let me tell you how
that's
important
a big deal.
Young Life has meant to my wife Mary and I. My daughter McCall, my oldest daughter, meets her husband Daniel through Young Life.
Okay.
And it's just been a beautiful thing.
Great.
So
you guys, you do all this stuff. You've got these businesses on this. Well, they're the main thing, but then you've got these extra things you do. How do you find time to address the site services business, the real estate brokerage, all of the things that come in and around all of these different things? How do you find the time to do extra things like this that you know are good and that you want to do? But I know the calendars are big issues.
Sure.
I think for me, it's priority, and it's amazing how much when you get energized, when you're doing something that you believe in, it kind of creates time. I know it sounds weird, but if your family's behind it and you're behind it, whether it's through a faith base, whether you're involved in church, or whether you're involved in Big Brothers and Big Sisters, or Young Life, or FCA. We're big, proponents of FCA. We help with that, but it's giving back, and it's taking the time. If everybody would look at your calendar and you would say, okay, I'm going to dedicate 10% of my time, whatever that means, if that's one day every 2 weeks, or if it's 1 hour every 2 weeks, and I'm just going to focus on somebody other than myself, and I'm going to try to push that. I mean, I was luckily was raised in a family that they gave back, and they worked at the soup kitchen on Christmas, and they did all those things. So I had that model with my parents where they gave back to the community.
Right.
And I think what we're missing a lot of times as a nation is we're missing people, and we're so blessed to be in Texas and in Williamson County and Georgetown and Round Rock and Austin, because there's so many people that are trying to creatively find a place to serve and give back basically to the youth and to grow them. And I think nationally we kind of miss that. And I think if people would catch on to that, and there's so many people, like you see great athletes like Peyton Manning that give back, and you see these great athletes that have accomplished so much, but you don't have to be a great athlete. You don't have to be a Super Bowl quarterback MVP to give back. You can do it in a small way. And if we would the majority of the people would do that, it doesn't take a lot of effort. That's the amazing thing. And it seems like you get more time benefited to you when you do start doing those kind of things. So that's kind of the approach I've always had.
It's a good thing to think about, because like I've got twins, I've got a 2-year-old, I've got a job, I've got other interests, and it's like, how on earth could you find enough time with all this going on in order to do extra things for people that don't even live in my house? And the answer is you have to be really intentional about it.
Exactly.
Mr. T always says,
I pity the fool.
Exactly.
Well, that too.
I pity the fool.
You got to make time. That's what he said. You got to make time. And I laugh because sometimes I look up and I feel like I'm people ask me what I do. It's like I'm a professional volunteer.
Yeah.
But it is part of your daily grind. And I had this conversation with my business partner today. He said, "Man, you sure spend a lot of time on that deal." I was like, "Yeah."
It's important.
Yeah, and you want to debate it, and we debated it, and he had his point. It's like taking time away from Texera, and I was like, yeah, I get it, but I'm giving time to a cause. He goes, yeah, but you're taking time away from Texera. I get it. Yeah. So it is one of those that you get joy out of serving others.
Right.
I got to make a point. I forgot one of our celebrity judges.
Let's have it.
Okay. This guy is unbelievable. His name is Herman Blitz Bloomington.
Are you sure?
He goes by Coach Boom.
Okay.
Oh my.
Do I have this page too?
No. This is
new.
This is a secret page.
His motto is 4th down, we're blitzing Satan. All right. So
it's like you're bringing Satan on the blitz, or you're going after Satan.
4-year varsity letterman at Ball High and Galveston. Football, tennis, and synchronized swimming. This guy was unbelievable. Received a full scholarship to play football at DeVry University. Inside linebacker, named 4-time All-SWAG Conference Player of the Year.
Dang, he's a real deal. Holyfield.
All right.
Drafted DeVry in Texas too?
Yeah, they're everywhere.
Maybe.
Okay.
They're everywhere.
So he was drafted in the 3rd round of the Russian Professional Football League to the Moscow Mules.
Okay.
He's nice. Here's his really his platform. He was known as the greatest middle school coach ever.
That's good.
He coached greats. I got to tell you a couple of these guys. Daniel Nugget Toss Fells, Tim the Heater Bench Press Gwynn, and of course myself at Tulsa, the great Matt Marshall.
Okay.
He's known for...
Wow, you just threw yourself up there.
He is known. All right. He's king of the up downs. He made me do more up downs one day. I thought my forearm was going to fall.
That's a real deal.
A real deal. All right. Okay. He loves Jesus and he loves young life.
Good.
And
he loves Matt Marshall.
He's got a couple great books called Running Downhill with Jesus and Blitzing Satan.
Dang, I like that.
Coach Boom will be at our Smoking Shoot.
Do you have a picture of Coach Boom?
I do have a picture.
I want to see that.
I don't know if you can zoom in, but there's Coach Boom with his Mike Ditka mustache and his mullet. Yeah.
You're a Chicago guy.
Let's talk about Chicago if we digress.
Chicago.
Yeah, well, Chicago's a great city, but people are evacuating the state at record levels because they're tired of getting taxed out the nose. And,
poor Chicago.
Is that what Obama left behind?
I don't know if it's...
So you're not going to get politically incorrect on this show?
No, we can't talk politics.
I'm not afraid to talk politics, but I don't know. What I can show you is the empirical results.
Well, let's talk about the Bears.
Okay.
The Bears.
Are you a Lovie Smith fan?
I liked Lovie when he was in town.
Yeah.
Good. Teammate of mine at University of Tulsa.
Oh, really?
Really?
Yep.
So that's how old he is.
I love Lovie Smith.
I went and saw Lovie Smith.
Really? I didn't know that.
He is a great speaker.
That's a big deal.
Yeah.
I saw
big FCA guy.
I played with Darryl Green. He's a big FCA guy.
Right on.
Yeah. Darryl Green.
Me and Darryl
Watched
Green.
your Redskins.
Oh, yeah.
Fastest man in the NFL for about...
Played for the Packers for a short while, too, didn't he?
I know he was a Redskin.
You better look
Number
at your
28.
Wikipedia.
Yeah.
Pull that up.
He's the fastest guy in the
Hold
NFL.
on, we're digressing again.
Hoggies, Hoggies. Boom. I don't know the sign. Boom.
What do you call them? Hoggies?
Javelinas.
Wow.
Hoggies.
Oh, I love it.
Javelinos?
Oh.
They were the Texas A&I University.
What does that stand for?
Javelinas. They're
Agricultural
a pig.
Is that agricultural and industrial?
No, it was agricultural and something else.
And informational?
Yes.
Agricultural and industrial is what A&I is, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Right.
Well, that's what I just said, right?
Well, exactly.
Informational. I like that better.
Informational. We're informational. We'll talk to you
get
about
1 of 2 degrees: agricultural or informational.
informational. You can tell people about your degree.
Okay.
I'll take the informational degree.
I've done really good in that degree.
Obviously.
You were going to say, Mr. the host?
Yeah.
Are we stealing your show?
We're going to be the show that gets in the can.
No, you guys.
I think this is really good.
No.
So I saw Lovie Smith in Chicago, and he was doing a Zig Ziglar conference.
Oh, right on.
I love Zig Ziglar.
And a lot of people do, but I went specifically to see Lovie Smith, and then got introduced to Zig Ziglar at the first time.
Oh, fantastic!
And then Colin Powell was there. It was
wow!
Cool,
wow,
that's big play. Those are three big ones right there.
Yeah, it was like I'd never seen.
Did you push George Bush out of your seat? I mean, what's going on?
No, I'm trying. There was some sort of George Bush.
Was W there?
Sarah Palin, you're on the back row. I'm up here.
I bet W might have been there.
It was at the Allstate Arena in like suburban Chicago, and they packed the place out. It was pretty cool.
Love it.
Dang.
Yeah,
very good.
Cool.
What else you guys got going on that is of note?
Nothing.
Wow.
You got 10 things you want to remember.
Hold on, before you do that, I want to know what protocol is. And the Smokey Shoot would not really take place without the support of our corporate partners and our sponsors.
Absolutely.
And I'd love to just recognize a few of those.
That'd be fantastic.
You know, one of them, Cornerstone Site Services.
No.
Stepped up big time.
Don't worry about it.
My good friends that we're building that project for out in Hutto, JRS Company, coming all the way from Covina, California. Thank you very much.
California people.
Yeah,
I would like to take out a futures contract for my son's employment at the JRS.
They run an
anodizing
line.
Sorry, we've already got David on our payroll.
Okay, fair enough.
He's a project manager in 2020. Okay.
He's going to need more time than that.
So I'd love to just share the names of our sponsors.
Yeah.
Big Iron on His Hip. You ever listen to Marty Robbins?
No.
Big Iron on His Hip.
Big Iron. Big Iron.
What is this from?
Marty Robbins. It's a ballad.
Country western.
Golly, Lee.
Yeah.
You know, old school.
I don't know.
All right, so when we get done here,
all right,
just Google Marty Robbins, Big Iron on His Hip, and listen to every word.
Okay, I'll put that on. Get that on Spotify.
It's classic. All right. So our Big Iron on His Hip sponsors, Block 16 Architects and Urbanists, who's a firm that we work with as part of our design team.
Cool.
Our Rifleman sponsor, you remember the Rifleman, right?
I know the Rifleman.
Yeah.
He was on right before Bonanza.
That's right. That's right. So our Rifleman sponsor is Sunland Group. They're a civil engineer. Thanks to Joel Bach.
Yeah. Joel Bach. Love that.
Our Locked and Loaded sponsor, Jag Trucking. All right. They do some work for you guys. Yeah. And so I'm chasing a couple of our Gunsmoke sponsors at a level of 2,500. I think I've got one of those done.
Nice
And we're still looking for our title sponsor.
Come on, title.
It's only $5,000.
Only $5,000.
Yep.
Step up.
And we've got a plethora of other great sponsors that just stepped up and really helped us.
Great, guys. That sounds like it's being really well supported too. So
really well supported.
Those are great local names to have involved.
Yeah.
You've got a list in front of you.
I
suppose I'm going to hear what's on this
list. I've got a list
because
here's the deal. If you are a hunter, then that's awesome. You'll probably be yawning during this. But if you're a non-novice type hunter, or a new to the duck hunting world, like I was about 5 years ago when this guy banged on my door and introduced me to the sport and said I'm going, I want to give you
first thing he said, what were those F-16s coming through here,
dude? So
right?
So, yeah.
Were you talking about birds? Or
so
you talking about
yes?
Yeah, we went. I was a deer hunter. I was a dove hunter. I've been a quail hunter. I've hunted. I thought, being raised in North Texas, I hunted everything that was out there, right? Mm-hmm. Well, then fast forward to this guy beating on my door and dragging me out at 4:30 in the morning. We go duck hunting, and now we're open to raise money for great charity, so I have a reason to get up that early. But there's 10 things that you want to remember, and this is for the guy that may not hunt all the time and may get drug out by a guy like this. So I've got
4:30 in the morning.
So it's early.
We're up.
And the nice thing is you're done by 8:30. You're back in bed before your wife even.
No, we go to the Weird Country store for a big breakfast.
Your wife doesn't even know you've gotten out of bed, and you're back in bed going, "Hey, honey." So it's great. So here's the top 10 things I came up with.
All right.
The number 10 thing is you need to check your waders.
Oh gosh, yes.
Check your waders.
Check your waders because
that's a softball.
We go out there and it's typically 30-something degrees, and the water's cold.
Yes.
And I had the mistake of putting my waders in the garage and not checking them in the swimming pool or wherever during the summer. And I went out in 30-degree temperature, and when you get hit with a spring of 30 degree on your privates, it changes your whole perspective of a hunting trip. So have you got any experiences there with a pinhole in your waders?
Actually, worse than that. I'm glad you brought that up.
Or if you cross a fence.
So I had an old school pair of waders. Now the neoprenes are so much better unless you snag them on a barbed wire fence. Totally. But I had an old school pair of waders, and they had ripped right at the seam on the inside, which I did not know. Ah. And so we were setting our decoys out, old school. We wade out, and you sink down in this mud, and you got to pull your feet out. And you kind of throw your decoys out. Well, I'm out there for about 2 seconds. I'm already in, and my right leg is completely filling up with ice cold water. Yeah. And I'm like, something's wrong here.
If you want this sensation, get you a Yeti. And get ice cold water and pour it down your pants, and that's what we're talking about.
So it's
definitely
want to check.
So that's number 10. Number 9 is get your duck stamp.
What's a duck stamp?
Duck stamp is when you go to Dick's, Academy, Walmart, wherever you get your
hunting
license. If you're going to go duck hunting that year, get a duck stamp, and it's a little stamp. It's an extra charge, and they put it on your little license. But the game warden really likes to see that.
Yeah.
For some reason, and you want to get.
And they're a collector's item.
Yeah. Okay. So it's the law. It
goes to a great cause.
Number 7, get permission wherever you're at.
We're at 8. 8 comes after 9.
Okay, number 8. Get
Are these descending like the top 10?
Yes,
top 10.
I'm trying to do that.
Top 10.
Get permission to hunt with the landowner.
That's real important.
Because if you don't, it can cause problems. And you also want to get permission with your wife. She needs to know that you're leaving at 4:30 in the morning on a Saturday morning.
Sometimes they never know.
To be going. Okay. And number 7, you want to take still shot and not lead shot, and that's important because
it's a federal offense.
It's not good.
Yeah.
So here's the story.
Can you still buy lead shot?
Yes.
Yeah.
Lead shot is for like dove and field game.
Okay.
So if I've got a field load of whatever, 8 shot, and I'm out shooting doves one day, I can't take that same ammo to the duck blind. I didn't know that. So I loaded up with all this lead shot, and I'm sitting there with this guy, and he goes, "Hey man, where's your still shot?" And I go, "What the heck is still shot?" And he goes, "Oh my God, you can't shoot a duck and throw lead BBs into the water." So they protect that. It has to be still so it doesn't kill the fish.
It's an environmental protection.
Just a little
yeah. We're
preserving our
wetlands.
So why wouldn't you just always use steel?
Because it's pricey.
It's pricey.
It's about double.
Yeah. Gotcha. And it's a heavier load. Adam could probably chime in.
And it costs a lot more money, right?
Yeah, steel shot's significantly more expensive, but the heavier load is more steel shot, and the lighter load is lead shot at smaller birds. And lead is actually less damaging to the animal. Yes. So a smaller bird, by shooting it with softer ammo, you save more of the bird.
Gotcha. Okay.
For harvesting purposes, so that you can eat more of it.
So that we can eat dove nuggets at your house?
That's right.
Exactly. That'd be dove poppers.
Okay.
Well, I call them nuggets.
Moving forward.
I got you.
Don't hunt when it's over 50 degrees. And this is duck hunting.
Okay, why is that?
This is my personal deal because if it's over 50, you need to be golfing or cleaning out your garage for your wife. Okay? 50 degrees is nothing good happens over 50 degrees in a duck blind.
You're right.
If you get into the higher temperatures, you got wasps we've been bit by, water moccasins, all kinds of bad things. So you want it cold. It's a cold sport.
I agree.
I love cold
I've
sports.
never duck hunted in shorts.
All right, number 6.
It's a good call.
Wear a life jacket when you're setting out your decoys. And I'm gonna let Matt tell you about that.
All right, classic.
You need a life jacket because we're wearing waders and we walk out, and water will go in the wader, and will slide you under the ground, under the water, and you will die.
Yes.
So you want a life jacket.
So, especially if you're in a tipsy canoe in deep water and putting out the decoys, like I get to do every time we hunt.
You're good at that.
Because my co-founder sits in the blind and drinks coffee and has bear claws. The worst part is if you have to walk out in the water to put out the decoys.
Either way, I think
and
either
you
way.
slip and the water goes in and
Either
it will
way,
suck you to the bottom of
Either way, you should
that sounds like
that's common
pretty
sense.
serious.
Yes.
And I know that sounds common sense, but when it's 4:30 in the morning and you're worried about your coffee and your bear claw, I'm not worried about him wearing a life jacket. I'm sorry. Okay.
Would you remind me next time?
Wait, so this happened, and then you are like going.
Pull him out. Pull him out, and he's coughing.
And I'm trying to back up, running uphill with my heels.
These are things we have done wrong.
Yeah.
Okay, invest in a friendship with someone who owns a hunting dog. We have not done this. This is
You know the story.
I don't know the story, but I know that a hunting dog changes everything.
Yes.
When you're in a blind and they go get it in the cold, icy water, and we don't. It's huge.
Morgan and I drove to Joshua, Texas, to Buffalo Creek Labradors, and picked up her new yellow lab named Ruger.
Is he trained yet?
He's in the process.
Okay, we're good.
So this is going to change the game.
So this is
going
to
game changer.
This is news cutting edge information.
And Kevin Carter, who's the president of Ducks Unlimited
in
Georgetown chapter,
he has
a dynamite dog.
I love dynamite dogs.
Yes.
Okay, here's another one. Plan your set before your hunt. Explain your set.
Okay, this is really important. All right.
Okay.
Adam will respect
wind
this.
And everything.
Yeah. So we typically set up on a ground blind, same spot on this nice little hunting hole, and we always set the decoys in two groups. I got one group out here, and I got one group out here.
Why do you do that?
Why we do that?
So a bird can.
So they like to. They're community birds. They're very social.
Yeah.
And so when the birds come in, they say, "Oh, we got a group over here, a group over here. Let's just sit down right in the middle of them."
Where the guns are.
So every time they come sit down right. Am I lying?
So plan your set.
You got to know your
wind.
Your set.
You got to know wind direction, wind speed. You got to know how they're flying. You got to pre-plan it. You got to go, which this guy does great. He goes out and he says, "Hey, yesterday I saw 10 birds coming from this angle, blah, blah, blah. The weather patterns are the same." So it's technical, which is why he's
great point.
Thank you.
That's a good point.
This is my personal. I like to be set up 30 minutes before daylight. And that's early.
Okay.
And sometimes that means I'm picking him up at 4:30 in the morning because where you have a close set, we drive out, we set up. But I like to be set up 30 minutes before daylight. And the reason being because we want to get still, and I want my coffee and my donuts.
Yep.
And my tacos, and I want to eat before I hunt. So if you're 30 minutes before, so you can back it out from daylight, because when can you hunt? When can you officially kill?
You can start shooting 30 minutes before daylight.
Okay.
All right. So you want to be set and ready to go.
I can't see that early, so I'm still drinking coffee.
But it's the best to be there. And not be in a rush. That's the biggest thing. Because there's nothing worse. You're behind schedule. You're trying to get your decoys out, and your spread looks like crap, and you rush back in the blind. You have your headlight on. You're looking out there going, "Oh gosh, it looks awful."
Right.
And then it's too late to go change your spread.
Yeah. And the last one I have is know the zone that you're hunting in, and know the limits in each species. Because
that's good.
If you wait until the game warden is checking your bird count, you done messed up.
Right.
Yeah.
So what you want to do of course you want to do it right, but you want to know if you're hunting in the south zone or north zone. I hunt in Oklahoma a lot, and if you're up there, it's different rules than it is in Central Texas.
Gotcha.
And so you want to know exactly what the rules are, and you want to have somebody like Matt that can look at birds while they're flying and tell you what species they are. I can't.
I have Adam do that.
I can't do that till they're dead, and then it's too late. But Matt and Adam can, and so have some experienced hunters with you. And that way,
that's a
you're
great.
not breaking the law. You wanna.
That's probably number one.
We want to be good. Well, that was number one. So we want to be good stewards of this.
How many birds do you usually get when you go bird hunting?
So the limit and
1,800
is typically 6.
6. Okay, that's the answer.
But it depends on the species. Like wood ducks, you don't kill 2.
Right.
All
Okay.
right.
Yeah.
Redheads, you can only kill 2. All right.
Canvasback.
You can only kill 2.
See?
See, you know that.
What about Wahlberg?
I never heard of a Wahlberg.
What about a widgeon?
Widgeon, you can kill 6.
See?
Okay.
Gadwall, you can kill 6.
What about a hutto?
A hutto bird?
That's a
we
good
kill
one.
69 of them.
Yeah. Nobody cares about hutto birds.
So you get 6 in all, or you get 6
Typically
whatever
you get
mix and match species?
6.
Well,
that would be your max.
Yeah.
6 typically is your max.
Yeah.
So you'd limit out on 6.
Yeah.
So between us, we'd have 24 birds, and we would clean them, and we'd go
Back to my place.
We'd go eat breakfast.
Farm up.
Yeah.
Now, I recommend for the Smoke and Shoot next year that you have a bird preparation category as well.
Happy to do that.
I think we should do a wild game portion of the barbecue cook-off for next year.
Yeah, well,
is that what you're thinking?
This is just idea phase, but I'm thinking like that would be pretty cool because it plays into
we're having a radio station that's going to contact us while we're in the blind. And during that, maybe we could tie in the cleaning process of that out on site with a video, and you could podcast it.
There you go.
Yeah, we'll do.
So we can
we'll
help
do audio only.
We
for
can
the
help
cleaning
the
of the
public.
bird.
So to promote the Big Uglies, Lyle Sinline and Casey Studdard,
Right.
Big Ugly Outdoors, Horn FM 1049. Aggie boys, they're YouTube.
Aggie boys.
They will kill you for saying that. 7 to 9 Saturday mornings. They've invited Greg and I, and I'm going to bring Adam in because he has a better duck call than I do to call in their show from the duck blind.
So we're going
to do it live from the Daring Farms or Roe Valley Farms from the duck blind.
Can't wait.
Awesome.
It's exciting. Exciting stuff.
Nice job. That was good.
Great podcast, gentlemen. Thanks for coming on. Thanks for joining us. Gentlemen.
Don't forget the Smokey Shoot August 3rd.
Smoke and Shoot August 3rd. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks, Lee.
Great to meet you.
Fantastic.
Appreciate it.
Yes, sir.